Hey guys, as the new year begins and we move into the next decade, I wanted to make a few videos looking at all the important moments for the last decade for Fiat Chrysler Automobiles. I decided to split this into two parts to avoid one very long video. Part 1 was released a few days ago and that covered 2010 to 2015, so make sure to check that out in the top right corner if you missed it. As for Part 2 today, we're looking at the rest, 2016 to 2020. This will be a recap and we'll go year by year taking a look at the major events such as car releases, car discontinuations, deaths, mergers, and all that sort of thing. I'm also going to put a slide with some text at the end of each year, just recapping what happened so you can get a visual. And most of the focus is on North America. So let's begin. Early 2016 saw the end of the Chrysler 200 and Dodge Dart production, as both vehicles lived just through the 2016 model years. Between both models, over 1 million were sold, but Sergio Marchionne did say, quote, "I can tell you right now that both the Chrysler 200 and the Dodge Dart, as great products as they were the least financially rewarding enterprises that we've carried out inside FCA in the last 8 years. I don't know one investment that was as bad as these two were." End quote. The Chrysler Town & Country also had its last model year. As for vehicle launches, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio and Maserati Levante SUVs were added to each respective lineup, sold in late 2016 as 2017 models. Mopar's annual themed vehicle continued, this time a Ram Rebel, with only 500 being made. "2017 saw the exciting announcement of the Dodge Demon, the world's quickest production car. The Demon was a one-off model just for 2018, built for drag racing, with 3,000 units for the US and another 300 for Canada, and it had the 6.2-liter V8 Hemi with a 2.7-liter supercharger. If you utilize the Demon crate, that meant 840 horsepower and 770 pound-feet of torque at the crank, and many other industry firsts. The Daytona name also returned for the Charger, available in either an RT form with the 5.7-liter Hemi, or 392 form with the 6.4-liter Hemi. The Jeep Compass and Patriot also had their last model years, as Jeep turned 75 years old. To replace the previous Compass and Patriot models, a new Jeep Compass was out for 2017, and this was sold all over the world. Sergio Marchionne announced early on in 2017 that Chrysler would be adding 2,000 jobs and investing $1 billion into the Warren truck assembly by making the Jeep Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer there, and they would also be making the future Jeep Wrangler pickup at the Toledo Assembly South Plant in Ohio by 2020. So these decisions all stem from the negotiations with the United Auto Workers president from 2015 that I went over in Part 1. FCA also came under some scrutiny from the U.S. Justice Department for using software that violated emission standards and allowed 100,000 of their vehicles to exceed the legal pollution limits, and a civil lawsuit was filed. But Sergio Marchionne would reject those claims. As for other negative news, in October 2019, FCA had announced that the Viper would end production by 2017, and that was true, as the Connor assembly plant, where the Viper was manufactured, was permanently closed on August 31st of 2017, and the last model year of the 5th generation Viper would be 2017. There were several rumored reasons for the cancellation, including poor sales and failure to comply with side curtain airbag safety regulations. The Mopar 17 model also returned with the Dodge Challenger, with 80 models in the two-tone pitch black and contusion blue, and another 80 in pitch black with billet silver. "2018 is the biggest part of this video and the decade, as there was lots of interesting news as FCA released their next 5-year plan from 2018 to 2022. The focus here was investing 25% of their funds into Chrysler, Dodge, and Fiat, and the remaining 75% into their more global brands, Jeep, Ram, Maserati, and Alfa Romeo. Again, there were all sorts of bold claims by FCA. I'll try to throw them up on screen as we go along. Chrysler's goal was to focus on vans and crossovers, making every model a hybrid or battery electric by 2022, and eliminate the Chrysler 300 within a few years. Fiat was planning for their all-electric Fiat 500e, while Jeep was expecting 9 new models by 2022, like the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer, a Wrangler-based pickup, next-gen Renegade, new Grand Commander, and more. As for Ram, the Ram boss at the time, Mike Manley, confirmed that the Ram Rebel TRX would come to the market in 5 years. This beastly Ram has the supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi from the Hellcat engine, which is projected to battle the Ford F-150 Raptor for the title of the most beastly truck out there. If you do want more details on that, I did spend 5 minutes alone talking about the specs and visuals in another video. Ram also projected a new midsize pickup by 2022. FCA had big aspirations for Alfa Romeo and Maserati, aiming for 400,000 sales per year by 2022 for Alfa and 100,000 for Maserati. But at the time, Alfa was only selling 100,000 and Maserati was at 50,000. Maserati also planned on opening 32 new dealerships across North America by 2022 in an attempt to sell more vehicles. There was also lots of talk about new cars from Maserati. There's a plug-in hybrid, all-wheel drive, two-door luxury car in the works to replace the Gran Turismo. This electric vehicle will be available as either a coupe or convertible. They also wanted to release a small performance hybrid crossover and an Alfieri model with an all-electric supercar to compete with Tesla, claiming that the Alfieri will have a 0 to 60 in just 2 seconds. The planned releases for these electric vehicles and the Alfieri are around 2020 to 2021. Moving on from the 5-year plan, unfortunately, amongst all the excitement, there was some sadness. In mid-July, there were emergency meetings taking place all over FCA, and on July 21, 2018, Sergio Marchionne suddenly stepped down as the chairman and CEO of FCA for health reasons, replaced by John Elkann and Michael Manley. Marchionne's last public appearance had been on June 26th in Italy, where he seemed very fatigued and appeared ill. He was on medical leave for shoulder surgery in July, but he did have complications, and his health had, quote, deteriorated suddenly and sharply, end quote, according to those around him. He went into a coma and died at the age of 66 on July 25, 2018. Sergio had been with the company since June 1, 2004, over 14 years, and during that time, Fiat stock had rose up over 10 times, and the market value also went up from $5.84 billion when he was hired, skyrocketing to $71.38 billion by January 2018. So rest in peace to Sergio Marchionne. As for the new models in 2018, the SUVs got really beefed up. The Dodge Durango SRT was released, which had the 6.4-liter V8 Hemi and many SRT features taken from the Charger and Challenger, like a performance hood and fascias and Brembo brakes. The Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT Trackhawk model also made its debut, instantly becoming the highest-performing Grand Cherokee ever, basically taking the SRT 392 model, but adding the 707 horsepower Hellcat engine instead. Dodge also released the 2018 Challenger SRT Hellcat widebody. At a price point of $6,000 more than a regular Challenger, you got 3.5-inch wider fender flares, 305/35 tires on 20 by 11-inch rims, 3-mode Bilstein adaptive damping suspension, and stiffer anti-roll bars, among other things. The 4th generation Wrangler JL was also launched for the 2018 model year, with new powertrains like a 2-liter Turbo 4 and a 2.2-liter turbo diesel in Europe, a redesigned transmission, zipperless soft tops, and a more modern interior. The Mopar 18 Durango was quietly released this year, featuring an octane red Durango SRT with some custom badging, interior, performance exhaust, and springs. There were just 250 made. Now let's move on to 2019. Going back to that emissions lawsuit, it was revealed that the issue was with vehicles that had the 3-liter EcoDiesel V6 engine, and FCA would settle that in 2019. That involved paying $311 million in civil penalties, $72.5 million for state penalties, $33.5 million for government reforms, $280 million to consumers, and $105 million in extended warranties, all for a total of over $800 million. In February 2019, FCA announced plans to invest $4.5 billion in manufacturing in Michigan, creating 6,500 jobs at the plant, and they wanted to spend another $1.6 billion building a Jeep factory in Detroit. There were also some mergers, first a failed one with Renault in May 2019, and then another proposal with French automaker Group PSA on October 31, 2019. On December 18, 2019, FCA and PSA did agree to terms on a $50 billion merger, which will be implemented over the next year, incorporated in the Netherlands, and led by Carlos Tavares as the CEO. There were some rumors going around that 2019 would be the last year of the Chrysler 300 again, but it did return for 2020, albeit totally unchanged. Fiat announced that the current generation 500 and all-electric 500e would be discontinued in North America, and what's left of the 2019 models are going to be sold in 2020, including all the convertible and Abarth models. So that leaves Fiat with just a 500X, 500L, and 124 Spider in North America. As for the other models, Dodge kept pumping out improvements to the Challenger lineup with a Scat Pack 1320 package built for drag racing with 485 horsepower in the 6.4-liter Hemi, drag radial tires, no passenger or rear seats, extreme duty 41 spline half shafts, and a trans brake among many other features. The Challenger also got an SRT Hellcat Red Eye model to fill the void of the Demon, with a slightly less powerful Demon engine, 797 horsepower and 707 pound-feet of torque, a track-tuned suspension, torque reserve, the SRT power chiller, and the after-run chiller. The Charger got no such model, just the regular Hellcat. The Ram 1500 and all the heavy-duty models got a major update with the 5th generation release, getting a more aerodynamic design, different grille, improved features, and an e-torque system for the Pentastar engine, providing more torque. The 4th gen Ram continued to be sold alongside the 5th gen due to its high popularity, and it was rebranded as the Ram 1500 Classic. And once again there was a Mopar edition with Mopar 19 Challenger Scat Packs. There were 100 of those in either pitch black or white knuckle. Now let's look ahead to 2020. These are all going to be 2020 models, but they were announced during late 2019. The Chrysler Voyager nameplate returns, essentially replacing lower model Pacificas. Charger fans finally will get to see the widebody 2 years after the Challenger got one, available on the Scat Pack and Hellcat models only. This package adds the features that we've been over, but also adds things like new electronic power steering, stiffer springs, larger sway bars, retuned shocks, and some race-inspired technologies including race cooldown, line lock, launch control, and launch assist. Sticking with the Charger for the 50th anniversary, they announced the 2020 Daytona Hellcat widebody with just 501 units being produced. The car is available in just 4 paint colors, B5 blue, pitch black, triple nickel, and white knuckle, but the only way to get B5 blue is with a Daytona model for 2020. You get special warp seed wheels, Daytona rear quarter decal, deck lid, spoiler, and a different color Hellcat badge, in either white or blue. On the inside there are Daytona seats, blue accent stitching, and a flat bottom steering wheel, and the performance gets bumped up 10 horsepower to 717. Moving on to the Challenger, it also got a 50th anniversary edition, and you can see the pricing and models on screen. Dodge says that they focused on details that stick to the Challenger's roots, things that have made the car what it is today, including high-impact paint colors, a body color shaker hood scoop, different wheels, and custom interior touches. Overall, there are going to be 1,960 of these across 7 different colors and 4 trim levels. Finally, Jeep got a 2020 Gladiator pickup based on the Jeep Wrangler, but with an extended wheelbase and a 5-foot cargo bed. It can tow a class-leading 7,650 pounds and is available in a Rubicon version with features like lockable front and rear differentials, 33-inch all-terrain tires, and a disconnectable front stabilizer bar. It's an off-road beast that also is the only pickup that can take off its top and doors. So that's the end of the Chrysler Top Moments of the Decade recap. Hope you guys enjoyed this little series. It was definitely interesting to look back in time over the 10 years at all the various things that happened, and it really shows quite a lot can change in a whole decade. Make sure to like and subscribe for all your Mopar content, and I'll see you in the next video.